Good morning. For all who are here with us at our headquarters, as well as you who are able to join us online, welcome to the World Messianic Church, the Roku Association Monthly Appreciation Service. We have gathered today to express our gratitude to God and Meshu Sama for the protection, help, and countless blessings we have received this past month, and to ask permission to serve the divine plan throughout this coming month. We will begin our service today with the presentation of offerings to God. Please remain seated and pray along silently for the open prayer.
Great God of light, with our deepest respect, we have gathered here at the Miroku Association headquarters to celebrate our monthly appreciation service. We humbly offer you our prayers of praise, appreciation for protection, help, and the countless blessings we have received this past month, and to ask for the permission, guidance, and inspiration to serve in your divine work of the construction of paradise on earth. Please accept the materialization of our gratitude through our in-person and virtual presence, our monetary offerings, and by guiding our relatives and friends. Please give us strength and wisdom to practice this year's guidelines in our everyday life, while renewing our faith and celebrating 90 years since the birth of our church and the 70 years of the Meshu Sama's ascension. Let us expand our practices of faith by intensifying our dedications through the practice of Jorei, participating in prayer services, offering donations of gratitude, and guiding individuals capable of overcoming purifications, as well as living in accordance with the daylight age. May we receive greater light and spiritual strength to realize Meshu Sama's ideals in our hearts, our homes, and our communities, so we become effective instruments of your divine light to bring happiness to everyone around us. May the new age of happiness and everlasting peace, where love, goodwill, and understanding prevail, soon become a reality.
Please join us for the Amatunurito, the prayer of heaven, followed by the Moroccan prayer, pages 11 and 13 of your prayer book.
Taka amahara ni kamuzumarimasu.
Kamuro hi kamuro mi no mikoto mochite. Sume mi oya kamu isana hi no mikoto. Tsukushi no himuka no tachihana no. Odo no ahagihara ni Isogi haraita mo otoki ni narimaseru. Haraido no okami tachi. Moro moro no magago to tsumi kegare wo. Haraita mae kiyometa mae to aosu koto no yoshi wo. Amasu kami kuni tsukami yao yorozu no kami tachi tomo ni. Ame no uchi koma no mimi furitatete. Hikoshime seto kashikomi mo maosu.
Hiroku o mikami
Mamori tamae saki hae tamae. Hiroku o mikami mamori tamae saki hae tamae.
Oshie mi oya nushi no kami
Mamori tamae saki hae tamae. Oshie mi oya nushi no kami. Mamori tamae saki hae tamae.
Kamagara
Tamachi haemase. Kamagara tamachi haemase.
Great God of light, creator and giver of all life.
In accordance with your divine will, the long age of night draws to an end. Your radiant divine light, shining ever more brilliantly, awakens the dawn of the glorious age of light, a time long awaited by all of humanity. We thank you for guiding us to your divine plan, and for the privilege of channeling and receiving Joy. May our spirits and bodies be illuminated and purified as we live your truth given to us by Meishu-sama. Make us pure and effective instruments of your divine light, so that we may serve you and all those with whom we come in contact. May paradise on earth be realized with health, peace, and prosperity, a reality in our lives.
Great God of light,
Bless and protect us. Radiate our souls with your divine light, so that we may truly become instruments of your great plan.
Please be seated. We will now receive group Joreh.
Praise the Lord. Bless you.
Jure is now concluded. Let us listen to a teaching of Meishu-san. My True Feelings. I have previously written about myself from an objective viewpoint. Now, I'm going to write about myself more subjectively, about how I really feel. I truly believe at this moment that I am perhaps the happiest person in the world, and my heart is filled with gratitude to God. What makes me feel this way? As members all know, God has given me a particularly important mission, and I am working hard day and night to fulfill it. They also know so well how many people are being helped through these efforts. There is a secret to my happiness that can easily be put into practice by anybody, even by those who have more ordinary missions. That is what I am going to write about. First, I would like to share the attitude that has always filled my mind. Since my early years, I have loved to make others happy. So much so that it has become almost my favorite pastime. My thoughts are always centered on how I can help others to become truly happy. For example, as soon as I get up in the morning, my first concern is the state of the members of my household. If even one of them is not feeling quite up to par, my happiness diminishes as well. In this regard, I am opposite of the average individual. In most Japanese homes, everyone shows concern for the head of the family before anyone else. Since I am quite the opposite, I feel strange and sometimes almost sorry for it. The hardest thing for me to hear are abusive language, angry words, idle complaints, or grumbling. It is also very difficult for me to repetitively listen to the same problems. I just love to be peaceful and happy. That is my true nature. I believe one of the things that helps me most in being able to enjoy the happiness I feel today is this mental attitude. For this reason, I continue to say and write, unless we make others happy, we ourselves can never become truly happy. I am sure that the greatest goal of our mission, the realization of paradise on earth, can be attained when this way of thinking has spread and is shared by all the people on earth. Though this article may seem somewhat self-admiring, I have written it in hopes it will be of some help to you. Let's have greetings from the president of the World Messianic Church Roku Association, Reverend Marco Negrão.
morning, everyone. Thank you for joining our monthly appreciation service of our headquarters here in New York. First, I would like to express my gratitude for your regular support, such as channeling and receiving Joday, and inspiring relatives and friends to join us in the movement of creating prototypes of a paradise on earth. Becoming a channel of the divine light and seeking opportunities to share the light of Joday with others is an excellent way to accumulate virtue. Yet, becoming a member is just entering the gate. Our goal in faith is to reach the innermost room. Bishop Samad said, becoming a member is learning the method of saving people. Therefore, after completing the membership course, it's called new member training course, a person should strive to save as many people as possible because in doing so, they will receive true blessings. Completing the new member training course only means that one has entered the gate of faith. After that, one must go through the entrance hall and reach the living room, otherwise it is not right. In society, it's common for our efforts to go unrecognized, even if we have given our utmost. However, we should not worry about that. What truly matters is being loved by God. And what does it mean, be loved by God? It means helping others, even if it's just saving one sick person, making them healthy. Whether it's 110 or just one person, since saving others brings joy to God, that is all we need to do. If we think in a complicated way, everything seems to be complicated. But if we think simply, everything will become simple. In the 1990s, when I was serving the San Francisco Center, I was there from 93 to 99, I met a member who said, oh, very happy that we are a small organization. I didn't agree with her point of view and shared this passage from one of the teachers called A Religion That Helps to Develop Fulfilled Individuals. The teaching goes like this. Those old days when various religions were founded, it was all right to live in a shojo attitude of faith. Shojo is also called a small vehicle. It's restricted. It's, in Sanskrit, it's called Nihayana. Nihayana type of faith is very restricted. So it was acceptable or even better for religions in their founders to do things frugally. As a Japanese saying goes, spiritual founders spend their lives clad in coarse paper clothes. But we cannot follow that style anymore today. Now that everything is becoming worldwide, we must work in an inconceivably big state if we wish to help save the entire human race. That is, the bigger the scale of our operation becomes, the larger the number of those who are saved will be. When people come to know of the great plan of our church, I'm sure all will take a new look at our work. We need to grow, and with your help, we can do it. Our goal is to have in the future a sacred grounds. It will happen. Someone talked about the North American sacred grounds. The prototype of Hakone Natami must be expanded more, and I must construct one in Kyoto. Those are areas of Japan, of course. Also, I'm planning to construct miniature paradises in outlying areas, such as Kyushu, which is in the south, and Hokkaido, which is in the north. Also, eventually in America, words by Mason, in America, I intend to build a prototype of paradise on earth, which includes an art museum. That case funds will be donated by the American people, I'm sure. So I think I will work out the design. After all, until the time comes when a prototype of paradise is built in America, God's light will not truly expand on a worldwide scale. It is a question of time, but in God's plan, it's to be realized without fail. So after that, the work in Europe and in the Orient will expand. So in order to grow, having Jode, handling of Jode as our major approach, there are things we can do according to Meishu Sama. And he wrote an essay which is entitled A Reminder. After witnessing a miraculous healing, medical doctors are puzzled and often ask, with a sigh of wonder, what has caused the cure? I have heard that some jury members, quite a lot of them, do not respond honestly to such a question. This is a grave mistake, an insult to God. Your objective as a member is to save as many ailing people as possible, as your strength allows you to, and God's will is that you inform as many people as possible the wonderful results that Jode can bring. Making doctors aware of the effects of Jode is probably the best way to accomplish this. Keep your doctors from knowing Jode because you are not fully aware of God's divine will, simply out of the question. As long as God gives you great blessings, let your doctors understand Jode is more important than anything else. If the majority of medical professionals in the world is awakened to the value of Jode, illness will be cured automatically. Please keep this point firmly in mind and continue with your Jode activities. Because I have heard that myself when people say, oh, my doctor wouldn't understand about spiritual matters, so they don't even bother to try to say. If they, even without giving any explanation, just saying the word Jode, that will spread out. People, doctors, oh yeah, I heard about this Joe Ray or whatever kind of thing before. And then one case, 2 cases, 3 cases, then they will start investigating, start becoming curious. So it's very important. I visited the Toronto Jode Center, or Jode Center in Canada 2 weeks ago, and took with me an original Komyo Nyorai calligraphy of Meishu Sama. So I took this in a wooden box, like this is made of Pavlovnia, that kind of wood. It's Pavlovnia, right? Maybe. Anyway, so it was I took as a personal object going to the airplane. And here in the headquarters, we have a similar calligraphy. So I felt it was important to share our wealth with our Canadian brothers and sisters. It's original calligraphy, after all. Like I said, took as a personal object. It also had a small carry-on. Actually belongs to my daughter, quite small. Because I felt I didn't want the vice president of our church in Canada, Minister Guilherme de Souza, to have to wait for me. You know how it is, right? If you dispatch your luggage, you go through those conveyor belts. Sometimes it takes a while for them to come and say, I didn't want him to wait. So I decided to bring with me in the airplane. When it was my time to board the airplane, my group number was the last one, number 6, group 6, so last one, group to board. Nevertheless, every passenger in front of me were admitted with their carry-ons and personal objects. When it came my turn, the flight attendant at the check-in point said, oh, my luggage will have to be dispatched. I don't know if you have seen the movie, where is that? Meet the Parents with Ben Stiller. He had all these altercations with flight attendants. It was a nightmare. Actually, the movie story starts with problems because of luggage. There was dispatches instead of him bringing as a carry-on. So I can't tell how Meishu Sama would react in such a situation. The fact is that I remember today's teaching, my way of thinking. Meishu Sama didn't like to hear complaints. and listen to the same old stories over and over again, right? So I thought, I will not complain. There must be a reason for this. Maybe Minister Guilherme is supposed to wait for me a little longer. Who knows, right? So when I got to my seat, the compartment being above my seat was empty. And so it was the one on the right of it and on the left of it. I look at the aisle across my seat. There are 2 or 3 compartments empty. So one normally would react. Oh, was this flight attendant profiling me? Like my face for some reason, right? There was no logical reason for that. Or if one would be short-tempered, would demand, talk to hey, call that flight attendant, why did you dispatch my luggage when there are so many empty spaces, right? But I didn't complain. And then came the realization, can you go next one, that the sacred calligraphy had to have its space on its own. And not just in the upper compartment with 2, the left and the side, totally empty. If I would have my carry-on, I would put the calligraphy and my personal belongings. They were not so sacred, if you know what I mean, together with the calligraphy. So that was my realization. So that's why everything happens for a reason. God and Meixo Sama utilized that person to pick on me. Sir, your luggage will be dispatched, right? Moral of the story, don't complain. God is in control, and you may learn the purpose of some things to happen later on. Sometimes much later on, there will be the realization, oh, that's why that thing happened, like blessings in disguise, right? So my trip to Toronto was blessed by the fact that 2 new members received the Ohikari Sacred Focal Point and already began to practice the channeling of the divine light. Naturally, there are times when, for instance, as a customer, may point out that a service provided is not adequate. That's fine. Reverend Watanabe once told me and a group of ministers that the fact that institutions and businesses in Japan do function efficiently with timely precision and immaculate cleanness most of the time is not because of sense of civility ingrained in Japanese minds. It is because they are a very demanding type of a customer. The customers are treated as royalties in Japan. But yes, it's because of this. If the service is not adequate, they will say it. They will demand. They will complain. So that ensures that everything has to function properly. I was in Japan in a missionary trip, and in my hotel room happened that I watched a TV show, was a documentary, almost kind of thing. This is what happened. A journalist went to a ramen noodles place, not liking the quality of service there, decided to place a hidden camera in those premises, the small restaurant, when the owner was not looking, with plans of returning the next day. Okay, so he did, and asked again for some ramen noodles. He sampled the taste of the broth and the texture of the noodles. Not happy, he called the lady who was the owner. While everything was being recorded, the journalist severely scolded her with words like this: "Do you like what you do?" "Oh, yes, what?" "I don't think so. I opened the front door, and not even one irashaimase," that's what they in Japanese restaurants, People say welcome to welcome you. Every staff is trained, no matter, let's say, if you go to a sushi bar or some place like this, everybody's busy cooking, preparing things, but when they hear, normally those doors will have a sliding doors, we have a bell. Everybody's trained to say, "Irashaimase," that means welcome, welcome the customer. He said, I opened the door, not one "Irashaimase." Okay? The broth of this ramen is bland, tasteless. The texture of the noodles is not right. If you don't put your love in what you do, then why do you have this restaurant? Or she began to cry and apologize because she was going through personal problems. And then he said, your customers don't have anything to do with your personal problems. If you cannot treat them properly, then just quit and do something else. So his scolding was way more lengthy than I described it here because he kept on and on, lecturing her. But so this is not just applicable in Japan, right? Can serve in many situations in our lives too. Whether it be a task your employer asks you to do, or a mission or dedication assigned here at the church. If you really put your heart in it, surely the results shall be good. Mirsama put his love and heart in everything he did. Giving Jode, writing calligraphies. You heard these stories before I shared here, right? His hand, Mirsama's hand, especially the right one, was filled with calluses. And people were shocked when they shook hands. It was a rare thing because in Japanese, normally you greet bowing, right? Not really shake, but those who happened to touch his hand, they thought they would find a soft skin kind of thing. No, it's philocalus because of holding the brush to write calligraphies. All those calligraphies, he wrote the sacred focal points over and over and over. That's why so many calluses in his hand. So he dedicated himself creating gardens, landscaping, right, constructing temples and museums. Some teachings that he dictated to his secretary, he revised them several times because dictated, but said, "Oh, maybe this word could change." I said this, but said my secretary put a different character there. That's not what I wanted to say. So he was doing this over and over. That would really reach his readers. And so that's how much love Mason put in everything he did to inspire us as well. So about the teachings, we are proud to announce that this coming week, as soon as our ministers return from the trip, we will launch the Foundation of Paradise Volume 1 in ebook format. First of all, the Foundation of Paradise is following the same sequence of the teachings we have in Portuguese. We have a large Brazilian Portuguese-speaking population in many of our centers in the United States and Canada, and there has always been the issue for members and ministers alike that, for instance, this teaching of today, my way of thinking, for instance. And when they want to find the equivalent in Portuguese, what was the teaching? Where do I find? Sometimes the title is quite different. It's the same teaching, but the choice of the editor or translator was different. So there's this difficulty. So with these publications, every sequence will be all the same. So it will be easy to do. And so it's ebook. In the future, we plan to have it in a printed format. But for the meantime, we're going to have an ebook. If you are not familiar with ebook, how ebook works, or in our case, and that's also the point of putting more love to do things. This book was already revised about more than 2 months ago in a PDF format. So this could be uploaded as a book, as a PDF. okay, so people would have already access. But an ebook really can have what is called a reflowable process, which means you read this, you download this ebook from our website in your smartphone. The screen is small, right? So all the fonts, they adjust themselves to that size. Or if you have a tablet, they will adjust to that size. PDF will be more like a solid, and if your smartphone is small, you're gonna have a hard time to reach, not that comfortable. Also, you can change the background. Some people that like to read in bed, not recommended though, but anyway. And if it is a too bright of a screen, you can change to a darker background. It has all these uh, possibilities. So that's why it took a while to do it right. And so I just need my other ministers to rubber stamp, right? To okay, Reverend Marco is okay, we can put it available. But the good things too is that the volumes 2 and 3, they are already practically finished. So that means we may expect also to have volumes 2 and 3 in the months of November and December. So that's great. Uh, so please remember that reading the teachings is one of the key components within our practice of faith. We receive joy through the words. When we read them, we receive joy through them. And it happened with me and other people too, and I will share what I mean later on. So these teachers gives us wisdom and recharge our spiritual batteries and gives us strength so that we can carry out with our lives with joy and dignity. So it is very common to doze off when you read, right? After a long work, you're tired, so many things, right? And then you read in, and then you feel so sleepy, right? It happened with me, happened with all of us. Or you may not do, you like you're awake, but your thoughts are somewhere else. Your mind is occupied with worries or other things. So you're reading, but you're not paying attention to what you are reading. And then after one, sometimes 2 pages, you realize, oh, I didn't absorb anything because my mind was somewhere else. And that's okay still. Because we say, by just the effort of it, whether it's a printed book or e-book, the effort that you are making to dedicate that time and space in your life to read the teachings, to try to improve yourself, will bring you light. So that's good. So that's why the encouragement. 30 minutes a day, try your best, right? And then after that, if it is not a ordeal or a chore, anything that you are drawn to it, it's almost like you can't wait. Like when people do what is called movie. When you let's say through a streaming service, there is a binge watching, right? Yeah, that was the word I was trying to remember, right? That you say, I'm going to watch just one episode, that's it. But then you can't resist, and you do many hours. You're in front of, because there are some series, well-produced movies that's their purpose to attract your attention, right? You're a consumer. So when we go through that process regarding the teachings, also we will feel drawn to it. They all can't wait to read the next essay, what Mishama wrote anyway. Also last week I paid a missionary visit to our Boston center. They had their annual ancestor service. Minister Guilherme is still in Japan with our pilgrimage group, so I was there to conduct that service. That center, if you haven't visited there, is very well taken care of. The love and care of the lay leaders and members inspired me to visit there again sometime soon. I'm inviting myself. One of the reasons why I'm inviting myself, they have incredible food over there. Incredible food. And if you like pão de queijo, that's the place to go. Okay, I had excellent pão de queijo when I was there. Pão de queijo, for those who don't know, is the kind of cheese bread kind of thing, right? It's excellent. Okay. So regarding the Ohikari sacred focal point, right, that we as members we carry in order to be able to channel Jorei, I would like to make an analogy with communication technologies. Okay, in the modern age of advanced technologies, there are so many devices that require a wired connection. In terms of our Ohikari sacred focal point, a wired connection is required in order for it to function. It is the cord or chain that goes around our necks. It won't work if it is kept in a case inside your purse or pocket. That's essential. So that's the wired connection. Some allowed an exception when soldiers during the war were forbidden by their superiors to have things around their necks. So that was a very exceptional case. In those days, the sacred focal point was not a medal, it was still the calligraphy of light, character for light, written on a paper in a small, like a letter-sized paper, then was folded and carried inside a sack or envelope. So those soldiers, they could place them around their chests, or sometimes had to be even around their bellies. So with no cord, but that was an exception. Still, they were all protected from war injuries and returned home safe and sound. So herein lies the wonders of the sacred focal point, this Ohikari. It offers you protection and allows you to channel the divine light. Like an advertising of a credit card company. Don't leave home without it. You heard that ad before, right? So you never know what kind of danger you could face when you leave home. Actually, even within your own dwelling, you need protection anyway. So one more thing, the channeling of Jorei is bound to occur, not just when we think and make efforts in doing. Like when you think, oh, I'm going to the Jorei Center, I would like to practice Jorei. So you already have an expectation that you're going to channel and receive Jorei, right? But sometimes God may put us in unexpected situations where the Jorei channeling would be required, such as someone passing out near you when you are walking, or inside a public transportation. We need to be ready for action. We never know. Therefore, create the habit of wearing it all the times. Either the only exception when, or being when you take a bath. Okay? To take care, the care you take for your focal point also makes a difference. When you don't have a set place for it, like on a high shelf or designated table, that you don't even remember, oh, where did I put it, right? Or when you don't wash your hands before handling it, then this vibration will be affected, diminishing its power. But even those recommendations are not strict. They just serve us to make aware of its importance, and not to make us feel fearful. Oh, this thing is so sacred, I don't want to have it for me. No, it's not like that. It is for us to have joy in having it, to feel the honor to be used by God to channel divine light without fear, just having proper care. And if there is indeed improper thoughts constantly going on through our minds, or the care of the focal point is inappropriate, then a sign may be given to us, such as we dropping it on the floor, right? Or the chain may break. So these are all signs. Okay, then you need to come to the center again. We do a prayer for re-blessing. That's what happens. A mysterious thing happened to me with Mayo Hikari while I was in training in Japan. It was before I met Miho. Maybe it was in preparation for me. Who knows? I woke up finding Mayo Hikari on the floor with its chain totally intact. Perhaps during a dream, I physically removed Mayo Hikari. Maybe I don't even remember that dream. Maybe in my dream, okay, I will have to take a bath to let me remove my ohikari, right? Because I found on the floor. So what happened then? I reported to my ministers, who arranged for my ohikari to be replaced. That's through the Amachi no Rito prayer, the Japanese prayer we do before the altar. So what happened too is that it turned to be a blessing in disguise, because that was in the highest place of the Atami sacred grounds. Dave, our loved member here, shared his faith experience at the sacred grounds in Atami last year. The place that I had my Hikari blessed was even that higher part, on only the officiants. So not ministers in general don't have access to that restricted area. So when I learned that my blessing was going to take place over there, I said, oh, maybe it happened for that reason. Who knows, right? But there are times though when the hikari cannot be replaced, such as being dropped in a very dirty place, or accidentally being put together with laundry and washed on a machine, things like that. Such cases, a new ohikari presentation is required. Moreover, when such serious circumstances arise, there should be deep reflection why that happened, right? Perhaps no joy is being given, or the neglecting, lack of care for the focal point is too much. When I was 16 years old, I was already a member since 11. I lost my ohikari on my birthday. And we had an altar at home. I returned home, realized I didn't have a ohikari, the focal point. I was very upset. So, oh, Meishu-sama, what kind of a birthday gift is this, right? But for me, that was very important, because I retook the classes. Then, compared with when I was 11, with 16, I could absorb more of the teachings, and then start really practicing during more seriously. So that was the thing, because being an instrument of channeling the divine light, which is an essential component in creating paradise on earth, if we don't use it, God may take it back. So that's what God did with my first ohikari. Oh, you're not using? Somebody else needs it, kind of thing, right? Took from me. So if you're going to use, okay, then receive it. And if you don't have anybody to give to yourself once a day. Do the daily practice. Other cases also, like I said, people losing it. And sometimes this could mean protection too. That means instead of your life cannot be replaced, but your hikari can, right? So instead of going, your life goes the hikari. And that's the time to reflect, wow, if this really meant my life was in danger, and the hikari being lost is this sign, so I need to properly make a donation of gratitude, recognize, right? Wow, my life was saved, and this is a sign. But that's for each one's reflection. Still regarding technologies, most people nowadays are familiar with the technology of Bluetooth. In order to connect devices wirelessly, let's say your earphones with your smartphones or a wireless mouse with to a computer, you need to pair them first. There's the pairing process, right? Same analogy can be applied with the Ohikari sacred focal point. In order to make the connection of the meadow with God and Meishu Sama, we first need to pray, asking permission to be utilized in the channeling of the divine light. This is the pairing process, because what happened when people they like Jorei or they start doing automatically. They just put their hands like this and start giving Jorei, but are not really praying. So the pairing needs to occur first. So what we can then pray or simply think, we can do something like this. Please God and Meishu Sama, use me as your instrument for channeling the divine light of Jorei. And then, that can be this simple pairing, right? You start like asking permission. It's not our light, it's not our energy, it's God's light. So we have to ask permission to utilize it, right? And then during the Jorei session, in a very relaxed way, visualize the light going through the person. Because the person may say, oh, I have an elbow pain. And we may focus too much on the physical aspect of it. No, imagine the light just going through. It's for the spirit anyway. The spiritual body, the light going through. And wish for their happiness and the elevation of their ancestors. That's how simply we can do. And finally, we are preparing for Meishu Sama's birthday, which will be in December. In our case, here is the first Sunday in December when we are going to celebrate. For that service, we are going to have special prayer forms that we place upon our altar. In the meantime, do your homework. Start making a list. The things that you are grateful for this year. The blessings and the challenges as well. Okay, the purification. Put both. And include the names of these people. Oh, I have this neighbor, I have this co-worker. I really would like for that person to join us in the work of constructing paradise, of receiving the Ohikari. Then, who knows, by just thinking about, don't wait until December to make this list. Start making the list right now. Spiritual realm, start working. And maybe this person will receive a Ohikari not next year, this year. And now, last words, really. How things they move in the spiritual realm, they are fascinating. I was talking to my kids. We were talking about a movie with that my cousin Vinny with Joe Pesci, right? Ralph Macchio, anyway. They were making a lot of fun about Alabama and what. So we were just commenting about that movie. The very next day, somebody sent me an email because we have our info, it's called info email in our website when people want to make inquiries about things. Oh, I'm in Alabama right now. I'm a Jorei member. Do we have any centers here or other contacts? I felt, wow, we were just talking, and we don't talk about Alabama every day. Maybe once a year, right? And so the very next day, anyway, that's very interesting how things they move in the spiritual realm. So thank you very much again for your presence today in service, those attending online, and have a wonderful month of engagement in our practice of faith. And God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you.
This concludes our service today. Thank you for joining us, and we wish you a blessed day.